Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, miss.
Yes, miss.
Okay. So it is the 4. We will go over our basic rules. Be on time, be prepared. Turn on your cameras, please. Um, excuse me, what was that? Did someone just chat? Remember to turn on your cameras, mute your microphones. You need to have some confidence to share and no eating in class, right? I know this weather is bad, so you could have your coffee with you there, but no eating. So we'll start with our first activity. Remember in the beginning of the week we covered rounding off to multiples of 10. So what were the steps that we followed to round off to the multiples of 10? Good morning, Ernest. What were the steps in rounding off to multiples of 10? Remember, those were tens, hundreds, thousand, 10,000, etc. What were the basic steps that we use in rounding off? Who wants to give it a try? Okay. Ernest says you need to locate your number, right? Put your vertical bar. What else? What happens after we put our vertical bar? We need to view if it is more than 5 or less than 5, right? If it is more than 5, what do we do?
Add one.
Very good. We add 1 to the previous number. If the number is less than 5, what do we do?
Ladies.
It stays the same. Very good, right? So that is how we go by rounding up to the multiples of 10. Now, round off 253 to the nearest 10. What would we get for that one? If we round off 253 to the nearest 10. Ernest, could you please mute your mic? Thank you. 250. Very good, right? Because we locate our number, which is 5. We put our vertical bar. We take a look at the 3. 3 is less than 5, so we keep the 5 and we just fill out with zeros. Good. Now, yesterday we covered significant figures, so this will be easy for you. Round off 276 to one significant figure. Where do we start counting our significant figures? From where do we start counting?
From left, right?
Very good. We start counting from left to right. So, our first significant figure will be 2, right? So we need to round off there. We take a look at the 7. Since 7 is bigger than 5, then we need to what do we do? Do we keep the 2 or do we have to add 1?
Add one.
Very good, right? We add 1. Very good. So we add 1. So that 2 changes to 300 and then that is our answer, right? So round off 109 to the nearest 10. What will be your answer for that one? Adrian says 110. Who else? Amirani says 110. Good. Which is in the 10 place value? Which number is in the 10 place value? 0, right? Very good. 0. So we have to place our vertical bar after 0. So we take a look at the number 9. Because it is a 9, what happens to the 0?
We add 1.
Very good. We add 1. So that stays with, now it becomes a 1. And we just fill out the rest with 0. So we get 110. So what we will do today is estimating calculations. When we estimate calculations, we need to round off first. It will be either to significant figures or to the nearest multiples of 10, right? So this is just to introduce you to the topic, which is estimating calculations. So what we will do first, for you to have a better understanding of estimating calculations, first you will add two numbers. Add these two numbers and remember your result. Just add them. Add those two numbers and remember your result. Why? Because we will come back to this. Add the two numbers. You can do that in your notebook, on your mind, but please remember the result. Are some of you done? So we can move to the next slide. Just add those two numbers. If you want some help, so are you finished adding the two numbers? You will just add, you won't do anything else, just add those two numbers, right? Okay, some of you are finished. Great, some of you have finished. I just see two persons that have finished. Just let me know when you have finished. I'll wait on some of you too. Okay. So if majority of you are finished, we will move to the next slide. Okay. Estimating calculation. Sometimes it is a good idea to estimate the value of a calculation rather to work it out exactly. But what does this mean? For example, when our mother sends us to the shop, sometimes she tell you buy a pack of bread and let's say a peanut butter or something, right? So for you to know if the money will give you, well, I don't know if some of you do that, but what I do, if I don't want to calculate exactly, I just say the bread maybe costs 1.75, so I just put $2 and the peanut butter maybe like $5, and I add, oh, $7 will be exact, or $7 will be enough, right? So that is how we try to estimate the values, that rather to work them out, right? For us, it's easier to work with the $0 than with the 50 cents, the 5 cents, the 25 cents, the 35 cents. So that is a little good idea to estimate, right? In this situation, rounding numbers in the question before performing the calculation. So in estimating calculations, what we do first when we get our numbers to calculate, we have to round off those numbers before doing the calculation. We have usually numbers are rounded to one significant figure. The approximately equal to sign is used to show the value that values have been rounded. That little sign like curly equal signs, that is for approximations. So if you are doing a calculation that you have rounded off the previous numbers, you should not have an equal sign. You should have that little curly equal sign, right? It's like a little curly thing there. So this is a little information about estimating calculation. So what you do first is you just round off the numbers that you are being asked to calculate, and then you perform the calculation. Do you have any questions? Right now I will show you in examples, but do you have any questions so far? No questions, says Ryan. No, says Gerald. So in your assignment, you will find front-end estimation. Front-end estimation only uses the numbers in the very left column. So if you are working with a two-digit number, you will round to the nearest tens place. And if you are working with a three-digit number, you will round to the nearest hundred place. Why? Because if we have a two-digit number, the number on the left column is the tens, right? So we will round off to the tens. If we have a three-digit number, the first number to the left will be the hundred place, so we will round off to the nearest hundred place, right? So these are some examples. Estimate the value of 23 times 67. So first, we round to the nearest 10, which gives us, if we round off 23 to the nearest 10, what do we have? Could you repeat if someone is here? Someone in the chat box says 20. Correct, right? If we round off 23 to the nearest 10, we have 20. So if we round off, 67 to the nearest 10, what do we have? 70, right? So that is what we do first. We round off the numbers. We round off before doing the calculation. So we have 20 times 70 now equals to 1,400. We have rounded off the 23 and the 67. So now we can proceed and multiply them, right? So your answer will look like 23. You will show your steps, and your final answer should look like 23 times 67 approximately equals to 1,400, right? Any questions?
No, miss.
No, miss.
I just hear some of you.
Miss, can you repeat it again? Because I was not able to hear it.
Okay. So, do you want me to repeat this example or the information?
Miss, this one, because I was not able to hear it. Please.
Okay, that's okay. And yes, this is how you will do your activity 2 for the assignment, right? So, first, we are given our little calculation to do with this 23 times 67. In order to estimate the calculation, first, we need to round off those numbers. So in this case, we will round off to the nearest 10, right? Because it is a two-digit number. If it was a 3-digit number, we were to round off to the nearest 100, and so on. But in this case, we are rounding to the nearest 10. So if we round off 23 to the nearest 10, we get 20, right? And if we round off 67 to the nearest 10, we get 70, right? So before doing the multiplication there, before actually multiplying 23 times 67, we need to round off those numbers and then multiply them, right? So once we have rounded off 23 and 67, which gave us 20 times 70, we know that the answer now, we perform that calculation, 20 times 70 equals to 1,400. But how we will write our answer is represented down there. We will write 23 times 67 approximately equals to 1,400. Remember that curly equal sign means approximately equals to, right? Did you get it now, Loriani?
Yes, Miss. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So we have another example here. I'm sorry that this doesn't look like a fraction, but this site doesn't allow me to put it like in a fraction bar. So we have just have in mind that 423 minus 98 is the numerator and 16.4 is the denominator. So if we round off to one significant figure, we need to round off everything, not just one number. We have to round off everything for we to estimate the calculation, right? So we start by rounding off the 423. So if we are rounding off to one significant figure, we take a look at the 4, right? 4 is the number that we are looking at, that we will round off. So we put our vertical bar after 4, and we have a 2 there. Because the 2 is less than 5, we keep the 4, right? We keep it and we just fill out with zeros. So our answer for that will be 400. Now, if we round off 98 to one significant figure, what do we have? What do we get? What do we get if we round off 98 to one significant figure? 100, right? We get 100. So, very good, we get 100. So if we now have to round off also this 16.4 to one significant figure, what do we get there? Remember, we just want one significant figure. So we take a look at the, very good, we get 20 there, right? So now we have to do the calculations now. So we have to do 400 minus 100, which gives us 300, and we divide it by 20. So we get 15, right? So we will put our actual question that we got first, approximately equals to 15. We put our answer. Is that clear?
Yes, Miss.
Yuri says yes.
Yes, Miss.
Okay, no questions so far? Okay, so I will move on to the next slide. So remember the two numbers that I gave you first? So you will do with those numbers what we just did. You will round off. If it has 3 digits, to what we will round off? Right? The numbers had 3 digits. So to what we will round off? To the nearest what? It has 3 digits, remember?
Yes, I think the nearest one.
Nearest 100.
It is to the nearest 100. Why? Because we have 3 digits. Ones, tens, hundreds. So if we start from left to right, then our 100 comes first, right? So we will round off to the nearest 100. Or to one significant figure, right? Any of those is correct. So you will round off the previous number that I just gave you. You will do your calculation and you will share your results. The numbers were, let me find them. These numbers. So now you will estimate the calculation for those numbers. Remember, I don't want the actual number. You need to estimate, you need to round off first and then do the calculation. Okay, Gerald, let's just wait 1 minute, Gerald, and then all of us send our answers, right? So I should have like 20 or 19 answers here. We just send our answers together. Let's just wait 1 more minute, right? So that your colleagues don't see Yuri and Alan. Okay, Loriani. Just waiting on the others. Remember, not everyone works as fast as you guys. Okay, now you could share your answers in the chat box. Let me see all those responses there. Okay, many of you are done, but I just see like 5 or 6 responses here. Okay. Okay, great. If we are to round off 896, right? We have to round off to the nearest 100. Why? Because it's a 3-digit number. Remember the rule said, or the where is it? Here. If you are working with a 2-digit number, you will round to the nearest tens place. If you are working with a 3-digit number, you will round to the nearest 100 place. So if we had 890, what was that? 896, I think, right? Yeah, 896. So we are taking a look at the 8, right? Because that is in the 100 place value. So if we are taking a look at the 8, Then we have to put our vertical bar after the 8. What comes after the 8 is a 9. Because the 9 is a number greater than 5, we need to add 1 to the 8, right? So that becomes a 9, and we just fill out the rest with zeros. So we get 900. Now for the next number, we have 236. If we are rounding to the nearest hundreds, then we take a look at the 2. The 2 is our number that we are to round off. So we put our vertical bar after the 2, which is in between the 2 and the 3. Because the 3 is less than 5, what happens to the 2? What happens to the 2?
It's the same.
It stays the same, right?
Remains
So
same.
we should have 200 and not 230, right? Because we are rounding off to the nearest 100, right? So our answer is 900 plus 200 would equals to 1010. But how should our equation look? How should that look? Should we put 900 plus 200? Or should we put 896 plus 236 approximately equals to 110? Right? Remember the correct way to write it. And I know that in the chat box it is very difficult for you to add a curly equal sign, right? But remember the appropriate way to write it. So we can see that to estimate calculation, we should round up first. So if you are asked to round up, if you are asked to estimate a calculation, you should round off those numbers first. Okay, very good. Some of you do know how to insert that little curly equal sign but did not use it, right? You just know it but did not use it there. Okay, so we will work on some of the activity questions. So if we have 55 plus 31, please write this because remember this is in your assignment. Right? So please write this and we'll go over this together. So because in 55 plus 31 we just have 2 digits, right? So to what we would round off? To the nearest what? Very good. To the nearest 10, right? Good. So if we round off 55 to the nearest 10, what do we get?
60.
60, right? And if we round off 30 to the nearest 10, what do we have?
30.
30, right? So now we add 60 and 30, which gives us
90.
90, right? So that is for the first one. Now let's go to the second one. If we approximate, if we round off 67, what do we have? 70.
70.
Very good.
70.
And if we round off 11?
10.
10.
10. Very good. So 70 plus 10?
80. 80.
Very good. So we move to the next one. If we round off 96, what do we have? 98.
100.
100, right? And if we round off 46, what do we have?
50.
50. So 100 and plus 50, what does it give us?
150.
100.
Very good. 150. So the next question there. If we round off 28, what do we have?
30.
30. And if we round off 7 to 4,
70.
70. So 30 plus 70 gives us
100.
100.
100. Very good. So in this and the bottom ones we just have subtraction. So if we round off 8 to 7, what do we have?
90.
90. And if we round off 34,
30.
30, right? If we do the calculation now, 90 minus 30, we have 60. Very good. Now we move to 65 and 13. What do we get for rounding off 65?
70.
70. Very good. And what if we round off 13? 10, right? So 70 minus 10? 60. Very good. Now we move to the next one. If we round off 51,
50.
we get 50. Very good. And if we round off 29,
30.
30. Very good. So 50 minus 30?
20.
20, right? Very good. So the last one, 93 and 44. If we round off 93 to the nearest 10, we have
90.
90. Very good. And if we round off 44?
40.
40. So 90 minus 40
50.
50.
equals to 50. Very good, right? So in this activity, you just round off first. Remember, don't forget to round off first. If you forget to do so, then your answer will be wrong. Please do not do the calculation and then round off your final answer, because that will not be correct, right? So this is how we go about estimating calculations. Do you have any questions?
No, miss.
Yes.
No questions? Are you sure?
No question.
No questions, is Yuri? Nobody else has a question? Okay, so I will move to the next slide. This is for you to do on your own. Let's see. Yeah. You will do this in your notebooks. I just give you addition, so that should not be difficult, right? You have 2 more minutes. Edwin says he's done. Okay, we'll just wait on the others. Just give them 1 more minute for the others. We'll just wait on the others. Remember, not everyone works as fast as you guys. Okay, so let's share our answer for number 1. Let's share our answers for number 1. Many of you said you were done, but I do not see your responses for number 1 here. What do we got for number 1? What do we got for number 1?
900, Miss.
900 says Yuri. Edwin and Sari say it's 1000. See many of you. Let me see what else some of you say. 1000, 1000. Right. Remember that we are rounding off to one significant figure, so we have to take a look at the first digit here, right? Which is 7. We locate this number, we put our vertical bar, we take a look at the 5. Because the number here is 5, we need to add 1, so this stays as 800. And the 200, because we're taking a look, we locate over 2, we put our vertical bar, we now look at the 0. Because it is a 0, we do not change the 2, right? And we just fill in with 0. So we have 800 plus 200 equals to 1000, right? So for number 2, what do we get? Eight 90 plus 10 equals to 900. Very good. So remember, we're rounding to 10, so we take a look at the 9, and we have 2, so that the 9 stays the same. We just fill out with zeros. And in 10, we take a look at the 1. And 12, we take a look at the 1. Put our vertical bar. Now we take a look at the 2. Because it is a 2, we do not change it, right? So our answer is there. So what we do next is I will send you this link in the chat box for you to complete a form, some Google forms that you are to complete. It's just 2 questions for you. If you cannot access Google form, I will stop sharing this and I will share the form. Right? So just a minute. But if you can complete the form, if you can log in there, please do so. It's just 2 short questions that you are to answer. Right? These are the questions. Today's class would have been better if we had, and you put what you think there. And an idea that is still going around in my head for this cycle is something that you really learned in this cycle. Put it there, right? So this is the Google form. If you can log in, please complete it.
Miss.
Have you completed it, Gerald?
Yes, Miss.
Okay, very good. It's not too difficult questions. It's just what you think, right? Please remember, I will not see the ones will not change. Since Alan, remember that we are rounding off first. So if we are rounding to the nearest 10, then that means that everything after the little bar just turns out to 0. Please remember this. Do not get confused. What, right? So some of you are done with the Google Forms. Can any of do all of you have access to the form?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so that's some brief questions. So we just have, so it is the end of the class and the end of the cycle. So I have a little quote here for you which says, what we call the beginning is often the end, and to make an end is to make a beginning. The end is where we start from. So from here, in 2 weeks time we start some new things, right? So it's just the end of this cycle. If you have pending assignments, please, I posted when you have to by when you have to submit those. And this is the end of our class. Alright, I hope you have a great day, a good weekend. Please submit your assignments on time. And I will not see you next week, but I think the following week I will do so. Please complete your work. Do not just stay there lazy day. Do what you need to do, right? So that is the end of our class. I'll see you next time. Right? Goodbye.
Bye, Miss.
Bye. Goodbye.
Bye, Miss Mike.
Bye. Bye, Miss Mai. Have a good
Bye,
day.
Miss Catzim. Bye, Miss Mike.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye, Miss Catzim. Bye, Miss Mike. Have a blessed
Goodbye.
day and a weekend.
Thank you.
Bye, Miss Mike. Bye, Miss Catzim.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye, Miss Catzim. Bye, Miss Mike.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye, Miss Catzim. Bye, Miss Mike.
Goodbye.
Bye.